Morrowind is the last of the provinces that have yet to receive a recent history video, and so I want to welcome you all to this final video. And no, I haven't forgot it because it's been a while since we've done a recent history video, but let's just hop into it. Following the disappearance of Vivec, the meteor that was originally kept suspended above Vivec City by Vivec's power began to fall again, and it was a group of mages that originally came together to create the Ingenium that kept this thing afloat above the city. And now the Ingenium is a soul-powered machine that fed on souls. This is when Baron Zaya then returned to Morrowind sometime before 427 of the Third Era and saw her son King Helseth become king, obviously, hence the, king, and eventually took the title of Queen Mother herself. A ruthless and paranoid king, Helseth ordered the assassination of the Neverine by the Dark Brotherhood, fearing that he would then, take power from him. So sometime before or after his coronation, King Helseth also outlawed slavery and reformed the Grand Council to be a more traditional of rulers than of the sort. Obviously, the tribunal no longer exists because this takes place after the events of Morrowind, and Vivec had, just disappeared with Almalexi and so the Sil apparently dying. So what's next? Oblivion. Oblivion affected Morrowind amongst the rest of Tamriel, causing destruction of the city of Eldaruun and forcing the Imperial garrison at Solstheim to retreat back to Cyrodiil. Hence, any forces that had now been in the proximity of Morrowind are now gone. So, after this happened, the houses sent various expeditions to reestablish themselves, and House Redoran sent such a group to Raven Rock and assisted the East Empire Company with their mining operations there. So, the year 5 of the Fourth Era was kind of uneventful, except for the fact that the Red Year happened. And essentially, the Ingenium that kept the meteor above Vivec City crashed and went boom and destroyed everything in its proximity. This sent shock waves which caused the Red Mountain to erupt, triggering earthquakes and tsunamis across Morrowind, and ensuing natural disasters would then destroy the city of Nissus and heavily damage the cities of Balmora and Sadrith Mora. On Solstheim, Fort Frostmoth itself would be destroyed. On the mainland, shocks reached as far as Tyr and Mournhold, however they were mostly unaffected. With the Empire gone and the Tribunal gone, the province of Morrowind had a severe power vacuum and a power gap that really wasn't filled, and House Redoran was the one that took up this mantle, and they conducted a series of coordinated relief efforts and sent teams to Vardenfell to help rebuild the cities after the eruption. And essentially, things were going approximately pretty well. And then later on, Telvanni Magelord, Master of Neloth, would then take a group of refuge to the Tower of Tel Mithryn, and that was in Solstheim itself, and ongoing relief efforts in Vardenfell were doing pretty well, except things always have to get worse, and in this case, this was the Argonian invasion a year later. In the year 6 of the Fourth Era, the Argonians invaded Morrowind at the bidding of the Hist, or possibly the Thalmor. We really don't know at this point, but I'm going to assume it's more of the Hist. Much of southern Morrowind was devastated by the Argonians, and are apparently some holdings of House Telvanni were also raided, but not captured. The Empire's ineffectual protection and seemingly indifference to Morrowind's plights made them kind of reviled by the Dunmer, and at this point the Empire really no longer had control of the area. So after the Empire quote-unquote released its grasp, House Halalu's imperial ties resulted in them being replaced by House Sadras and eventually purged. Furthermore, the NXCL's invasion of Morrowind during the Accession War prevented the Empire from even reclaiming Morrowind in the process of this. Now, during the Accession War, we see the city of Tyr most likely remaining under Argonian control, as well as there being a stalemate somewhere between the cities of Tyr and Mournhold. Now, whether or not this was going on, we don't really know. There's still a stalemate to this day and into the present. Now, essentially, something that was a bit smaller that happened during this time, as well as in the year 16 of the Fourth Era, Solstheim officially became part of Morrowind once the Kingdom of Skyrim officially gave it to Morrowind. We don't really know why. Maybe because of all the struggles that Morrowind endured at this time. But that is really all the history we have on the area. It's kind of why I saved Morrowind for last, because there wasn't a lot of information past the first few years of Morrowind. Unlike the rest of the provinces, we get a good amount of information pretty much now until the 201, because we don't have anything after the year 16 in this case, which is relatively hard to make a long video on. And so essentially that's why I did save it for last, and I kind of did wait for it for later, see if any other information popped up, but hence nothing really did. So at this point, Morrowind is an independent country, and whether or not its relations with the Thalmor and the Empire have improved, or if they're even going on, or if they're just mostly focusing on an isolationist attitude, which is most likely my bet, I would assume that Morrowind has fully isolated themselves, having contained themselves to deal with a lot of the internal threats and the internal struggles going on. A lot of bad things happened at the same time, and roughly around the same time at least. You have the Red Year, which devastated Morrowind. You also have the disappearance of the Tribunal, and you have many cities that have been decimated, and at the same time you now have an invasion that threatens the very existence of your people and threatens the very sovereignty of your people. So with that, that is my analysis in terms of the present tense, in terms of what's going on in Morrowind. I assume that Morrowind is most likely going to stay independent in the near future, but it's going to have a lot of rebuilding to do, and they've definitely suffered a lot as of late. So with that, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Again, I don't know why I do these outros. I have an outro now. Peace. If you just happen to stumble upon this video and enjoyed, maybe consider subscribing. If you are a returning subscriber and you enjoyed, please hit that like button. It really helps way more than you actually think it would. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.